Hey everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the Stupek Show, where we interview some of the world's most adventurous people doing some of the most adventurous stuff around the world. Now, with that being said, I'm going to invite today's guest. We have Stan Gaskell, cameraman Stan, and Mitch Hutchinson, who is currently on a great trip, and we're going to invite them right now. Let me do this. We're going to invite Mitchell. Invite. All right, let's see them join. Let's see what we got going on. Thanks everyone for joining. Hey everybody. All righty. Okay. Let's see.
Hello, mate.
Hey, how's it going there, bud?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Let's see if we can get Mitch on here as well. Is he all set up?
Yeah, you should be.
Okay. Sometimes the links don't go through right away, so let me try to send it again and see if it goes through. Where are you guys at right now, by the way?
Say again, sorry, mate.
Where are you guys at? You're in Iraq still?
We're in Saudi Arabia at the moment.
Oh, did you just cross?
Yeah. Just crossed from Kuwait.
Awesome. Awesome. I've been following your journey for the last couple weeks. Oh, it says Mitch is unable to join. Let's see.
This is a standard thing with Mitch and technology.
Well, we'll hang out for a second before we get started, and we'll see if he wants to.
Yeah, drop him a message and see if he can request to join.
Okay. Let me do that. Are you the technological one in the group?
Absolutely, that's the job. Yeah.
Okay. I'm also not great at technology, so how do I send him a message while I'm on a live?
That's a fantastic question. Hang on, let me dip off and I'll WhatsApp him.
Okay. Cool. So thanks everyone for joining. We're hanging out here. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty. Oh, there he is. No, Mitch joined the live, but he's not in it. So hopefully he can. Mitch, if you can hear me, can you request to join maybe and see if I can add you that way? Because I've sent you a couple invites. Let's see. Just chilling here. Oh, there we go. Now we're back to being alone. So I'm going to interview Mitch Hutchinson, who's going to be, he already swam we'll get into all that. I'll be patient. Okay, let's see. Accept. All right.
Hey, bro.
Hey, you did it.
Hey, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't have any invitation. I had to request to join, but we're there in the end.
Okay, my bad. Sorry about that. And then we're gonna Stan, so we'll get the three of us going. It's late. What time is it there? Did I catch you too late?
No, it's not too bad. It's only 9 p.m.
Okay.
We're in.
You guys are both in. Fantastic. So
Amazing.
Stands on the roof.
This is one, especially doing your journey that you're doing, trying to get you guys all at the same time is incredible. So I'll start off. I'll ask some basic stuff, and then we'll get into some more stuff. So I saw you had a recent post about a week ago that you've been climbing mountains since you were 16 to climb Kilimanjaro.
Yes, yeah, that's where it all started, mate. So when I was like 14, 15, I was working with my dad, raising money to go on my first adventure, which was to find a company that would take me on my own at 16 to go and climb Kilimanjaro on my own. So finally managed to find that, and that's where it all began. That's where the bug for mountains and adventures really all started.
I mean, but it had to exist a little bit before then, right? Like, were you climbing stuff as a kid? Because you don't just do your first mountain.
Yeah. It was like every single tree you could find, any rock you could find, it was up. It was like, how did you get up that tree? Yeah, it was just making like forts and dens from that's what ADH does to you as a kid.
That's awesome. And then you just went for it when you're 16. How long ago was This is like 20 years ago.
15. Yeah, I'm 31 now, so getting old, getting on.
Yeah.
As you can see, the grey beard.
Were they still singing the Mambo Habarigani?
Yes, I think so.
That's okay. I actually, funny
Yeah.
story. I had a job with a travel agency, and when I was in, I sold trips up Kilimanjaro. So
Amazing. That's
yeah.
great.
I mean,
Oh, so
never went up though.
Where are you now? Where are you now, mate?
I'm in Luanda, Angola. I'm walking the continent of Africa, and probably more if I'm being real with you guys. I decided to kind of extend it, but I've only made it like 4,500 kilometers in right now, so I got a long.
That's still a long way.
How's it going with the Congo visa, Ryan?
Okay, so it's I've run into a little bit of a situation similar to what you and Russ went through with your Angola situation.
You were robbed at gunpoint.
I was sure that.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, just 2 days ago. So I haven't posted a video in a couple days, and that's been why. But I'll explain that all later. But it's delayed things for sure. And so I have to. I'm meeting with Africell, who's like like an African cell phone company, and they're located in the DRC and in Angola, and they think they can fast track visa stuff for me. So I'm going to see that.
Yeah. Bless you. I hope you're okay.
It's fine. I didn't have a lot of stuff on me, but they did get my phone. They did get all my money. So we'll figure that out. Have you guys had any issues like that on your so far?
No.
We've had a few problems. A nice big car crash, but no robberies yet.
I mean, we held up a gunpoint, but not for a nice reason. We were held up a gunpoint, but for somebody giving us money.
How does that work?
So we
admit myself and go on, Mitch. Go ahead.
Now you, mate, you said you were there. You were involved, so you can tell it better.
Yeah. So myself and our other camera guy at the time were sorting out our new van. We were trying to get the seats removed, so we took it to the scrapyard. And the guys at the scrapyard were lovely. They helped us take the seats out, and we were expecting to have to pay them to do the job. And then at the end, they were like, "Oh, how much do we owe you?" We thought they'd made a mistake, but they wanted to pay us for the seats that they'd taken out of the van, which is really nice. We said, no, don't worry. You've done us a favor, so it makes sense that we do you a favor if the seats are value to you. And they weren't happy about that at all. We had a kind of a back and forth argument because they wanted to give us money, and then one of them dashed away into his little shack and came back with a Magnum revolver and pointed it at us to give us money.
Where is this? Where I buy a ticket?
This was in Serbia.
Serbia? Okay.
Yeah, day 2 of Serbia.
And how many days are you guys into this trip so far? And before you answer that, Mitch, do you want to tell everyone about the trip briefly, about what it is you're doing?
Yeah, so it's essentially like a 13,000 kilometer triathlon from starting in Dover, so starting in England, and the finish line is 8 months later on the top of Everest. So yeah, it's swimming across the channel, which we done in September, and a 11,000 kilometers bike ride, and then 1,300 kilometer run, hike, and climb from sea level in India to the top of Everest, which will be the longest climb of Everest in history.
So first of all, this is creative as hell. Like, how did you come up with this idea?
Yes, it was all like it just came to me on my first expedition. So I left the Marines 3 years ago, and then I got asked straight away about if I wanted to row across the Atlantic Ocean. So I was like, hell yeah. So within 6 months I was rowing across from basically the Canary Islands in Spain across to the Caribbean, or the Caribbean. And during that time is when it was 7 weeks of open ocean, 12 hours of rowing a day. And it popped into my head all this like a combination of childhood dreams rolled into one. So it was swimming across the English Channel, but mostly climbing Everest, but climbing Everest from the sea. So going from zero to the top of the world rather than starting climbing it at 3,000. So yeah, so I thought I'll climb Everest from sea level, I'll swim the channel, and then I just kind of popped into my head, if I link the middle bit together with a bike ride, it becomes a triathlon. And that's basically what happened. And then it became a reality because I just started to figure it out in my head, all the timelines and the seasons and how long it would take. And I was like, I'm actually bugger it. Let's just do this. And here we are. Here we are over halfway.
And so, if I've been following along right, it seems like the hardest part hasn't been the physical stuff, but the bureaucratic stuff, the visas, the passages. Would you?
There's been some more, yeah. There's been some interesting parts. Yeah, I've had some upsets, but obviously, yeah, physically, it's a lot. It's still like 7,000 calories every day. 10, 11 hours in the saddle. It's hard. It's all about getting to the finish line in a state where I won't die when I climb Everest, essentially. So yeah, it's fun. It's a very hard balance, still doing really big miles, like as much as I can every day, without kind of hindering, without jeopardizing the end mission. Because I've already lost like 6 kilos. God, like what's that, like 20 pounds nearly. And yeah, we've still got lots to go, so it's quite an interesting one to balance.
What is like? How do you? Because you're burning so many calories and you're in the middle. How much do you pack with you? Do you have a sport car, or like how do you feed yourself?
It's hard. It's just kind of eating as much as we can along the road, and I've got like weight gaining shakes and protein shakes, and trying to eat more bars. We're hopefully getting another sponsor coming on soon who's going to help us with kind of more proper food. With more like high calorie, dense calorie stuff. Ration packs from the military, hopefully. It's just hard. It's basically just eat as much as you can whenever you can, as many meals as possible. But it's impossible. It's not impossible, but it's very hard to be hitting like the 8,000 calories a day. So I'm meant to be eating 8,000 calories a day, which is tough to say the least. But I've just got to do what I can.
Are you gonna take a couple days before you get like after you bike ride before you start climbing? Talk up on
Yes. So that's obviously the plan. We finished the bike ride in the town in India, in West Bengal, because other guys are asking in Digger, and yeah, we don't know exactly how long. Multiple days to get reset, to get eat a little bit, stretch a little bit, get reset, get the kit needed, everything in place, ready to start the 900 kilometer run to Kathmandu. And then when we get to Kathmandu, it'll be the same. There's like a period, whether it's a week or however long before, once we get there, to obviously get everything ready for Everest, get the kit sorted, get everything in order, get ready to start the actual trek to Everest from there. So yeah, not a massive amount of time, but enough time to just get ready, basically, to get ready and prepare.
I got you. And I'm going to ask more Everest related questions in a bit. But first, I want to talk about your guys' connection. Because from the outside looking in, it seems like you're sort of developing a niche, cameraman Stan, as being the adventure filmmaker in the world, basically.
Yes.
I don't know about the adventure filmmaker, but yeah, I've sort of fallen into this niche. It's amazing.
You're definitely.
You went from the hardest geezers cameraman to Mitch's longest world's triathlon a year and a half. Like, I don't know what else to call it.
I mean, yeah. So I've just been super fortunate, basically. I met Russ on a video shoot a few years ago, and then when he was talking about Project Africa then, and I was thinking to myself, what psychopath would go with him on that? And then when he put a thing out saying that he was looking for a cameraman, I dropped him a message, did the application process, and got that. And then afterwards, I think it was while we were in Algeria, actually, Mitch reached out to me on Instagram and told him about the project, and I just loved it. So myself and my amazing co-producer, Molly McDonald, met him in a pub, basically. He told us about the project. We were like, that sounds great. And then, 6 months later, here we are, like that?
Yeah, about that, yeah. Sold him a dream.
That's that's hilarious that you kind of you do one and then you kind of go into that same pattern. I have to make a little bit of an admission to you specifically because you did work on Project Africa. I was I was so jealous when I saw that you guys were doing that because I'd been planning on doing this walk for like 3 years,
I
and then like
really,
6 months before I go, I saw that he was already in like I saw him relatively late into the journey. He was already in like Senegal or something, and I'm like
I'm
but
curious. But if it makes you feel any better, Russ did walk bits of it when he nearly broke his back and stuff. So
well, it actually was super helpful for me to study it because I was going to go the eastern route, and with Sudan that would have been impossible.
yeah,
And so, and because I was told that the West would be impossible, and he kind of blazed the way and made it possible for everyone. Have you heard of the Bannister effect?
I haven't. No.
There's a runner last name Bannister like 100 years ago. I'm getting the dates wrong, but he was the first one to broke a 4-minute mile that no one could ever do it, and then I started doing it after that. And feel like I feel like once Russ ran West Africa, it was like the floodgates are kind of opening. And I've talked to a bunch of people that are like, I'd like to try it. And I'm literally trying it, so it makes sense.
Are you going through Algeria? Is that your plan?
Okay, so the plan was to kind of copy and go through Tunisia, but I think I'm going to continue and go through Morocco. I'm going to take the ferry across the Strait of Gibraltar, and my parents are going to shoot me if I do this, but the plan was I kind of wanted to do. Have you seen those memes like the world's longest walk from Cape Town to Magadan, Russia?
Well, yeah. We got sent a lot of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, right. So instead of going through the Middle East, which is impossible right now, those countries, those specific ones through like Israel and Gaza and stuff, I would like to kind of skirt it, go around the western side, and then come through like Turkey into Georgia, and then into Russia.
That sounds amazing.
Nice.
What a trip.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal at least, but I have to see U.S. and Russian relationships would need to improve before I can tap that.
Yeah, quite possibly.
And then go.
It's funny though. It's interesting how much of these journeys are. I'd say the biggest obstacle that any of us face doing these sorts of cross country journeys is bureaucracy. It's borders. It's men in suits. It's not the sort of thing that you think it would be.
You know what's funny is I actually had like one of the biggest obstacles when I got through Angola was the police about how they're like always on me, right?
But that's our fault.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, tell that story.
We also got robbed at gunpoint in Angola, which is generally a very, very peaceful country. So I can't believe this happened twice. We were told, and I believe it, that it was super rare. But yeah, Russ talks about that on Good Morning Britain, and then the news got hold of it. So it became this big story, right, that we've been robbed at gunpoint. And then we found out from a police escort that joined us, forcibly, that basically that news story had ended up on the president of Angola's desk. And from now on, all travellers overlanding through Angola need a police escort, and that's our fault. So I do apologise.
No, it's ironic because I had the police with me for like the first 2 months, and then they kind of out as I got into Luanda and got robbed. So it was like, yeah, it is what it is. It was stupid. The only reason I was taking a different route. I was going from the Slave Museum right south of Luanda all the way in a town called Benfica, and there was like a television agent, like their national TPA television Publico Angola that wanted to interview me. So I did this walk through an area that I normally wouldn't have gone to get interviewed, and then that's when it happened at 5 a.m. And then during the interview, that's all they asked me about was about robbery. I was like I feel like I just got interviewed for the sake of it. I feel like it's almost a setup. But
maybe it was.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm with you on the Angolan people though. Everyone's been super friendly, super nice. But that was a setback. And then Mitch, I want to go back to Everest itself. You said you've done it before?
So I done base camp when I was 2 years after Kili. That's the first time I saw it. Yeah, not Everest itself. I've done lots of stuff since then, like bits in the Alps, Morocco, and then last year back to the Himalayas to climb Amadablam, which was like the next, which was the big, the big training climb for Everest. You know, the big tick in the box. It's actually technically harder than Everest, much harder. It's so I managed to get that done luckily, and with a great team. And yeah, that put me in kind of basically ticks the box for you to do for Everest. So yeah, I was really lucky to get on that, and a bit last minute again, and get that experience. It was incredible, and that's just set us in good stead now for ready for the big one.
So I had a couple people comment some reference points. We are interviewing cameraman Stan about the world's longest triathlon. Have them on here. I did have a guy asked a question in there that I was curious about as well. I've heard Everest is like crazy expensive to climb. Are you able to get like sponsors to do it? Are you like, do you get a pass?
No, absolutely no pass whatsoever. Like, I quit work full time, like having no money at all to even begin, you know, with zero in the bank to just chase this dream. And we managed to just be lucky enough to ramble enough sponsors to get started. We've still got nowhere near what we need to even finish it, to even like finish paying Everest. We've got some, but not enough. So it's just a case of blind faith, work your butt off, and yeah, just kind of get the story out there, try and inspire some people, try and, you know, and just hope for the best, that people are going to believe in it, and that we're going to, yeah, but we're confident. We're optimistic. We'll say optimistic rather than confident. We're going to get through. Everything's going to be okay. And, but we have no money. You know, I come from a very, very kind of normal background, and Everest is expensive. So it's just a case of, pushing forward, hoping for the best.
What do you do to save up for, like, got sponsors and all that, but you probably have job related stuff to work to the first part of it.
Say again. Oh, before this, what did I do for work?
Yeah.
So before this, since leaving the military, I was just doing like some security stuff here and there. And then my latest job was basically flying around the world, looking at basically being security and bodyguarding just a high net worth. So just a wealthy guy basically, but it was not a glamorous job. It's like, you know, 12, 14-hour shifts of doing nothing with, you know, the pay's okay, but it's not amazing. But I just had to quit that because there's no chance that I was going to be able to, you know, to arrange all the logistics for this, not just the physical training I needed to do for it, but I had to just quit it altogether just to have any chance of bringing the plan together, as well as training enough, you know, just the time and energy needed to train to swim the channel was one thing, let alone a 11,000 kilometer bike ride and then climbing Everest and a 1,000-kilometer run.
Well, I had some tell me. So I was working for a little bit on the Camino de Santiago years. I was a maid, and I was talking to a couple of the hikers about this I wanted to do, and I told them a little bit about my life. And I think maybe you might fall into the same pattern. And they said this, and they meant it as a compliment, and I think it is a compliment, but it doesn't like it at first. They said people who are very adventurous tend to be unemployable. And
yeah,
and I think that kind of falls in my regard is like, I can't hold down a job for more than 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it comes with the you know, you're kind of the itchiness to always do something more. Yeah, absolutely. I get that for sure.
You wake up,
that's why I'm determined to absolutely give this my entire everything I've got, because then after this, hopefully we can just, who knows what will happen after this.
There's always another thing.
It's gonna be, exactly, yeah. The mind's already been wondering, but this is by far, you know, this is the biggest, this was the toughest challenge and longest, you know, of my life. No matter what comes, there'll be loads after this, but who knows I don't know if it will be quite to the same scale or cost. We'll see.
Well, it from the sound of things, it may be the longest challenge of most people's life, almost anyone's life. You know, it's
just different. Yeah, the other important thing to me is the message to get out to anyone, you know, listening. It's not about doing something bigger or better. For me, this was just something I threw together with a combination of dreams that I had. I didn't even know that this broke world records until 6 months after I planned it. I had no care. I had no care about having Stan or anyone else on the team, or, you know, making it big. I just wanted to do it for me. But then obviously I'm so happy I've got him now, and it's just turned into an opportunity now to do something really good with it at the same time as achieving these childhood dreams. We can also all together make a massive positive impact together.
And it sounds like you guys are having some ferry or boat trouble right now that you're trying to solve.
Yeah. So we're looking forward in the mission to the crossing from Oman to Pakistan, which we've done, you know, a good few weeks of work on at the moment, and it is looking borderline impossible. So at the moment, it's just a lot of reaching out to the boat owners, cargo companies, because there's no ferry between the two countries. They don't have great relations. So trying to find, be it a little wooden fishing vessel or a big cargo vessel, anyone will take stuff to water, basically.
How far?
Yeah, because since
the body of water.
It's only about 400 kilometers. Yeah.
400. Yeah. It's about 250 miles, 300 miles max.
Oh wow. Okay.
Exactly. Since Iran direct ejected the visa, it just made things awkward. But yeah, we're just seeing what we do. So the detour across the entire Arabian Peninsula is like, you know, makes up the kilometers that we would have done in Iran. But we really want to get on the boat, just as much for the story as for the kind of purity of it all.
Crossing from Oman to Pakistan cargo boat, someone said. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I've just seen that. I'm gonna, whoever just said that, give me a message. We'll chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Cargo boat, yeah, absolutely. Anyone listening that doesn't know, please. But I mean, I'm talking. We've already for weeks. It's been calls to shipment companies, cargo companies, leaving messages, leaving voicemails, sending emails. It's just a case of getting to Oman, you know, and going to the offices physically, trying to find the captains of the small boats. But most of the time with these big shipping companies, there's a manifest, and if you're not on the manifest, it's nearly impossible. But we're still asking and doing everything we can.
Well, I'm sure you'll figure it out. If these adventures have a way of, like, if you just kind of go, like, they kind of, like, exactly. you saw that.
There's always a way.
Your Algeria situation, you had Elon Musk like tweet president or something, like, to get.
That was a very strange time. Yeah.
So, what was the story on that?
So, Algeria, crossing from Mauritania to Algeria had basically been our biggest problem since before the project even started. Originally, we were going to start in the north and go south. And about 2 days before we were due to leave, Algeria rejected our visas. So that's why we started in South Africa. That was the only way, was to go to South Africa and hope that we had a big enough audience by the time we got to Algeria that we could do something about it when we got there. And then fast forwards 9 months, and we still had to solve this problem. We've been working on it continuously at this point, and basically it was impossible. So as a last resort, we put out a video on socials, pleading for people to help and pleading for the Algerian government to let us in to that border. Up to this point, we had like ridiculous support all over Twitter. Loads of crazy people retweeted that. We were also in touch with like people in the British government that were asking for us, like Alistair Stewart, Rory Campbell, or the other way around. Yeah, Alistair Campbell, Rory Stewart in the government were asking for us. Like, the government were making comments to the press about it. It was a wild time. And then eventually someone in the Algerian government saw it and thought, this is getting enough attention that we should let him in. So we got special permission to cross that border.
So what, you know, you've made your video to cross the cart with a boat. And any progress yet, or are you still waiting?
Yeah, but we have faith.
I have faith in you guys too. I have a feeling you'll work it out. And then, so, all right, going back to the trip itself, all together, you have your biking, your running. As a 31-year-old peak athlete, top of your life, how would you What are you the best at? What are you the weakest at? Are you a stronger swimmer? Are you a stronger biker? Are you a stronger climber? What?
Of all of them, I'm very average at everything. You know, I'm probably swimming is the thing I enjoy the most. But genuinely, that's kind of the whole point of this mission as well. Is you haven't got to be some super athlete, ultra athlete to do this kind of stuff. Like I've never once been a cyclist, part of a club. You know, I've done one long cycle trip before this. I hate running. I've had 2 knee surgeries. Swimming, like I love swimming, but again, I've never swam as part of a club. I've never swam competitively. I've just always loved it. So it's more a case of like I'm kind of decent at all of them, but I just have to work extra hard at each one, which is absolutely fine. It adds to it all.
No, I love that message. There's the concept of like anyone can do almost anything as long as you try.
That
Now,
is that's literally it. You know, it's mindset. It's as long as you believe and as long as you put in the work, as long as you're as long as long as you're determined, you know, your body follows. You know what I mean? That's the main message. You can literally do anything. It's just a matter of mindset, changing that mindset slightly. And yeah, the whole point is you haven't got to be. People often think you need to be like, you know, there's no way I could, you know, what I do, or what Russell, what anyone could do. People think I can only do that if I was a super athlete or if I was an endurance athlete or I've done this for years. That's not the case at all, you know. And you can get out there, start small, build yourself up. But I say start small. You haven't even got to start small. You'll be surprised. You haven't got to just get out there. You know, I'd never rowed a boat in my life, and then I rowed across the Atlantic Ocean, ever. Like you've really
that's
not got to. It's like again, like I'd never ridden the bike more than again. I say I'm not. Again, this isn't me just saying I'm not a cyclist. I'd never ridden the bike more than a 50-mile ride before going to Croatia, cycling the coastline, and then going to the US to cycle from Florida to California. That was the first time I'd ever had a long bike ride. Was 5,000 kilometers across the US. It's a case of just get out, do it, believe in it, believe in yourself, and you'll just surprise yourself.
yeah, I hear that. Do you get in the zone or do you listen to music? Do you talk? Like, how do you?
Yeah, everything, like so many different types of music. You know, like even classical is like one of the main ones that helps me get me through. That's what helped me get through the Atlantic, like a classical piano playlist gets you in the zone. But then there's like I've got like rock playlists. I've got tons of podcasts, audiobooks. Just flick between it every single day.
So do you find yourself getting? How do you find your emotional state as it goes? Because I know
Oh,
personally,
it's a roller coaster,
yeah,
as you probably know.
right?
No, it's
Like,
crazy like that. But as you know, bro, like one thing I've learned, and Stan probably knows this as well. One of the important lessons you learn in any expeditions is you know when you're riding a high to enjoy it, but you also know when you're riding a low. I now know that it goes up and down. So I know that no matter how bad it gets, I'm not going to have to ride it for too long because it will get better again soon. So even at its worst, you know that it's going to get better again soon. No matter how much of a mental dip you're in, it might be horrible. You know, like I'm doing this, stands up, not sleeping like 3 hours a day editing. Bless him. He's probably getting 3 hours of sleep a night. But like we know that eventually, okay, we will get some more sleep. We will feel better. And then we've had so many days where like our entire trip has just been revitalized just by one day, which has just blown us away.
there's I've been amazed. I don't know if you've gone through a lot more like deserty type, although I did Namibia, but you've done like it seems like more open spaces in a sense that the highlight of my trip has been the people and the interactions that have been kind of like helping me and treating me well throughout the way. Have you experienced
Yeah, that's
yourself?
the same. Yeah, exactly the same.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
especially Iraq. Like the Iraqi people are just the best, some of the best in the world. It's unbelievable, and the entire Arab world as well as the Middle East. The Western world needs to take a note from their book because we do not compare. We don't even come close to their level of friendliness, you know. And it's hilarious how like so many people in the West actually think the opposite. But honestly, like I was felt safer in Baghdad than I do in London.
Yeah, I can. I mean, I've only been to London twice, but I've been to
yeah,
Baghdad. I can believe
yeah,
it.
absolutely. And like just people in the UK, people in wherever that have been, like they know it doesn't come naturally to bend over, to bend over backwards to help. In the West, like the only time people really, really try to want to help you is if they're getting money out of it for some, Whereas every single person here is just amazing because the only thing they care about is
doing the right,
being friendly. That's what matters because it's part of their literal religion. It's part of their culture. It's part of who they are.
So that's, I kind of want to highlight that before we move on to another topic. I want to, if each of you guys have a story, I'll share with you after you guys are done, but I want to hear a specific example of a time a human was great to you and something for the audience to hear.
Okay, Stan, you go.
I'll go first. I've got 3 in mind. This is from Project Africa, actually. But this is the most kindness I've ever experienced in my life. We were in the Sahara Desert. We were crossing the roadless section, so it's 1,000 kilometers of desert with no road. And we broke down in the middle of the desert. We were a bit stuck, to be honest, because we didn't have a way out. So we just waited around, basically. And after only a few hours of waiting, some Algerian truckers came by, and without even a question, they agreed to tow us another 400 or 500 kilometers through pure desert, over the border and into Algeria. So that was the first bit of kindness. And then we arrived at this hotel where we checked in for a few days. And the guys there were lovely. They invited us to dinner. We chatted loads. They showed us around the town. And then they called their friend who was a mechanic, this guy called Hakeem. Didn't speak any English, but he was lovely. And they fixed our van and refused to take payment for it, which was mind-blowing because it was a big fix. He just wanted us to pay for parts. So it was pennies, really. And then the van broke down again about 1,000 kilometers later through Algeria. And we called this guy, the mechanic Hakeem, and said, do you know any mechanics in the area that we can trust? And he basically said, no, I don't trust any of them. I'm coming to you. So our friends from the border of Algeria got on an 18-hour bus ride just to come and fix our van again. And we tried to say no. We tried to say don't worry about it, but they refused to listen and came and did that for us. Just completely unprompted, And I honestly believe that that's what most people in the Arab world and the North African world are like.
Yeah, I believe it. What about you, Mitch? You think of anything, or should I go?
I mean, not much to Stan's amazing story. My brain's pretty fried right now, but the experiences from the last couple of months alone just go to show it. I think he's listening now. One of our closest friends now, Ghazi. From when we arrived here in Kuwait, just someone who just messaged out the blue to help. We had no idea what we were going to do transportation wise, and then a friend just someone you've never met meets us at the border, gives us a truck, never met us, gives us his truck to use for essentially the rest of the way, and not only that, puts us up, feeds us, and shows such kindness. It's just incredible. And there's been loads of smaller ones than that, like in Iraq. We met Dr. Tamir when we were in Kurdistan. Without any reason apart from just being the amazing people they are, like meeting us at the border, waiting there for hours for us to arrive, making sure we got through customs okay, to then take us and give us a tour of everywhere, to bed us, to feed us. There's just so many examples, but yeah, that's just the two that popped ahead.
It's almost every day. It's crazy.
100%.
There was
even for me, I was about to say, even just a few nights ago, we were camping. We were camping on a beautiful spot, and these locals and you never get this in the UK, really. They just came over to us, said, "Come over to our fire, sit with us, have some tea," and we were there for 2 hours.
Yeah,
and that was one of the best camping we ever had.
Just welcoming as hell. There's and then for mine, I was in South Africa, and it was winter still. It was raining, and I got wet, and it gets dark there at 6 p.m. And I got I was walking till 10 p.m. and then my body started to shut down. And I thought it was just because I was doing 45 kilometers and I'd only been used to doing 25. But then I started growing up, and I had no service. I was supposed to meet with people. And I normally would have just set up a tent and been like, I can't meet with you. I'm going to sleep here. It's too far. But I didn't want them to send out a search patrol worrying about me because I didn't want to not show up. So I kept going, and then finally I got service like 3 kilometers south of their house. And they're like, I'm 3.5 hours late. So I have all these messages that pop up on my phone. And I said, where are you? Where are you? And the whole reason I needed to get there that day was because they were going on vacation the next morning. And so I messaged, like, I've walked 100 meters the last 14 minutes. Like, I can't. So they actually came and they picked me up, and they helped me into their truck. And when I got into the house, they realized I was like almost purple. They're like, honey, you have hypothermia. The woman was a nurse. She was, they were a retired nurse. They're like mid-60s. And they spent like the next 3 hours with 4 blankets on, like rubbing me to like back to warmth. And they actually postponed their vacation a day so that they could take care of me the next day before dropping me back where they picked me up so I could continue. And these are people I had never met.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and there's obviously that's more of an extreme example, but you find stuff like travel and get out of your comfort area.
Yeah, it's incredible, mate.
Okay, so back to your travels. You've done the North American bike ride. How long did that take you?
Just over 6 weeks. Yeah, that was kind of like my first long completely solo self-supported mission. So it was just a great tester of like, especially because I done that literally as training for this, because I knew if I've got any hope of doing, the 11,000 K bike ride, I need to at least do one big, massive bike touring expedition first, just to see how I got on. So yeah, that was incredible. Yeah, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, the whole way across Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California. Absolutely beautiful.
The southern route.
So yeah, I always wanted to go as south as possible. Yeah, redneck country. It was the best in the world. It was honestly, they say like southern hospitality, but oh my God, it is such a thing. And I've been, let's say, I've traveled a lot of the East Coast, West Coast, up north, and I don't want to offend too many people, but nothing compares to the South. It's just incredible.
As someone who's from whatever.
They're just great. I love them. Yeah, some of my best. Yeah, similar stories to like here. It's like people just pick you up on the side of the road, offer you help. There was some amazing nights. Some of my favorite nights were just, I spent New Year's Eve just in a trailer park watching a college football game with a couple and their kids who I'd never met, and I became their family for the day, and that was my New Year.
Oh, that's awesome. Person asked, did you ever go to Arkansas?
No, I would love to go back. I can't wait to go back. So yeah, Arkansas is top of the list. Top of the list. I've got loads of friends in Nashville as well. I've got loads of friends in Tennessee, and I need to go back. Yeah.
What's your guys' both? This is a question for both you guys actually, so you can answer in whatever order you want. What is your down period in terms of I just completed this epic adventure, I rest, and then when does the itch hit you again?
Oh God! Well, for Stan, it wasn't that long. It all depends. For me, I don't know. For me, it'll be different after this, because the last 3 adventures. Because this has been the ultimate kind of adventure at the end of all of mine. So I finished one, and it's been like, right, best get to the next one, ready for this. Finish the Atlantic. Okay, I better get to the cycle, ready to do this. And then I finished that, and I was like, right, I better get ready for the Everest training climb to do this. So after this, I don't know. I think I'll have a bit more of a. I think the gap will be a bit longer, but probably not massively longer.
And then, for me, it was no time at all after Project Africa. Like, I got back and I thought I'd be exhausted, but I think I was still running on this adrenaline high of never sleeping or working. So I was like, where's my job? What do I have to do? And it was nothing. So it was within a month of getting home that I'd agreed to do Mitch. Some might say foolish, but here we are. I'm having a good time.
I would say that, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have offers to join more things in the future, well, too, stacking out.
Yeah, I've got some plans for the future, but at the moment I'm working with our other producer, who's obviously not on his live stream, but who I work very closely with and who's involved in this, is a woman called Molly McDonald. So we've got lots of plans to sort of try and bring more of this style of content to YouTube, adventure stuff, which I think is such an untapped
And
gold mine, especially on YouTube.
has it always been adventure filming for you, or did that just kind of start with Russ and you just kind of fell into it?
I've always been really interested in that side of things. Myself and Mitch are both really inspired by Steve Gaskell and Deadly 60, which we kind of grew up watching, which is this amazing wildlife program where they show the behind the scenes of how they find the animals. And we were both super inspired by that. So adventure filmmaking has always been an interest, but for me, it's wider than that. It's all sorts, and this is sort of a niche that I've fallen into and I just fallen in love with.
Okay, well, after we get off air at some point, I do have a project idea that I'll throw your way, and you can tell me what you think of it. But yeah, let's see if we have any questions from people, or let me check. Or
No worries. Yeah, that's a good way to finish up. Always Q&A.
yeah, let's see. You guys feel free to drop some questions in the comments section, and we'll get to them if you guys have any. Otherwise, we'll wrap up here pretty shortly. Like, make sure Mitch gets some rest. Are you riding again tomorrow?
No. I'm kind of losing my head here, Stan. What have we got tomorrow?
Yeah, so it's your rest day tomorrow, and then we'll carry on riding the day after.
Yeah, so generally I do about 800 kilometers on average in one go, and then 24 hours of stretching, like and then go again. So anything between like 700 and 800. So like, there's no exact set rule, because some days you don't know how long you're going, you don't know what you're going to encounter, if you're going to be sick, if you're going to be, or you know what I mean. But generally it's like 5 or 6 days in a row, and then 24, which is like around 800 kilometers, or say like 500 miles, and then 24 hours to stretch and then go again.
What is your when you do 800? That's like a week. Like, what's your longest day you've done so far?
207 or 208 kilometers. Yeah, but that was a nice day. I had a bit of wind, which was nice there. But yeah, it was good. It's been building up. I started off deliberately, obviously lower, because I'd done no training for cycling. Because a tiny bit, 95% of my training had been focused on swimming. Because swimming the channel is by far was the hardest part of the whole mission. Between 5 and 10 times more people have summited Everest than I've ever swum across the English Channel.
Yeah,
and that's the part where, like, it was. So for me, it was like, right, that's the priority. Cycling, like I say, anyone can do. Anyone could get on the bike and do what, again, part of the message. Anyone can get on the bike. Could get on the bike with like little training and cycle across 18 countries. Anyone could do it. It will just hurt. So I knew that would happen for me. I knew, right, this is gonna hurt, but within about the first 2 or 3 weeks will be the warm up. Will be the training. So the first couple of 1,000 kilometers was the warm up, and then it kind of got a little bit better. So with the last month, the last 6 weeks, it's been the mileage has been increased, which I was always planning on doing, and so now there's no set mark, but it's just get as much done as you can, and then again, it's so important to have that kind of stretch day, recovery day, because when I finished this 11,000 kilometer bike ride, I then got over 1,300 kilometers on foot to go before I then even climbed the highest mountain on earth. So it's, when they say it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's an ultra marathon, not a sprint.
and you're making up for lost time, because then you get put down in a curfew state for a couple days, and with this boat situation, like, you got backed up by bureaucratic stuff.
Yeah. I mean, luckily Mitch was smart enough. Mitch was smart enough to leave some time in, because the Everest date can't move. That's a fixed season. If we don't make it in time, then we're finished, basically. So Mitch left some buffer room, but we are eating into that buffer room now with a lot of delays.
We do have some questions about Everest here. We have the timeline on Everest, and what's the weather window? A couple Everest related questions. So we have to hit that. And
weather window. So it's May essentially. So the trek starts kind of mid April time, and then the actual to get there, and then the climb is kind of from the start of May. The whole month of May is kind of when is when we'll do it. So that's kind of, it is a race to Everest because, you know, from setting off from England, I have to arrive there in time to meet up with my team who I'm climbing Everest with.
Okay. And then we did have one question for Stan. As a filmmaker, do you join on for the love of the project, or are you able to get paid by sponsors, or do you take like how does it work?
Yeah, I mean, it's different for every job, but for Project Africa and this, I've sort of taken a punt on it. So the goal is to get paid. It's the only way I could carry on doing these things. But certainly the priority is getting the project funded, getting sponsors in, and then we can worry about getting paid. So ideally, I walk away from this getting paid, you know, enough. But it's for the big projects, I'm taking a gamble on.
How far do you go up Everest? Do you walk with him to base camp? Do you say goodbye when you're in India? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I'm going up to base camp, and then I'll be staying about 2 hours walk down from base camp in a lodge there for about a month. I'll just be based out there, walk up to base camp every few days, collect footage from the Sherpas, and just sit in a hole and edit. Basically, is the plan.
That sounds like still a month though. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. I can't wait.
Especially after he's making you bike some of it now.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, he actually still hasn't got on the bike yet.
Oh.
Which is,
I haven't yet.
Really?
Which you will.
Been too busy editing his ugly mug instead.
Yeah, that's very, very true. That's very true. That is so true.
Well, I'm going to thank you guys so much for coming on. Thank you guys all in the comment section for joining this live. I appreciate you guys. As always, this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transcribe the audio and I'm going to post it to my podcast channel, and I'll post it on my story, and maybe they'll do it the same. And we'll try to clean it up, and because it did get patchy a little bit for service issues, but we'll have this out. If you guys want to hear the whole audio, pay attention for the next couple days. I'll have it posted pretty soon. And if you have any questions, by the way, people are loving your YouTube videos, Mitch. So
thank you.
There's that.
I appreciate it. That's all, Stan. But thank you, everyone, and good luck. Good luck for you, man, with the rest of your walk.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And don't be a stranger. I'll follow along the rest of your journey, and I hope you make it to the top of the Everest.
Awesome.
Appreciate it, mate.
Pleasure
Having a beer with you one day. Take care, bro.
Thank you.